Dear friends, welcome to my new video. Today we will see the secret behind the conversion of ancient times bulky and large electronic devices to today's compact and smart electronic devices. Stay tuned till the end of this video. The question is, what is electronics? Electronics is a branch of physics that deals with the flow and control of electrons and their uses. Electronic devices are machines that use electrical circuits to process information and carry out hundreds of different tasks. Examples of tasks include encoding, analyzing, or transmitting information. Some common examples of electronic devices include computers, mobile phones, televisions, radios, cameras, printers, scanners, and household appliances, etc. But these electronic devices were not always smart since they invented starting of 1900 entry. They were so bulky, non-intelligent, and had needed large space. You could see in the video some of the pictures of electronic devices from late 1800 and early 1900 centuries. Now we will see what is the magic behind this dramatic evolution of the technology. So we need to know the history and invention of electronic components. You could see some of the older electronic components on the screen. First is diode. The diode was invented in 1904 by John Ambrose Fleming. It is a vacuum tube with two electrodes, a cathode and an anode. Electrons can flow through the diode in only one direction, from the cathode to the anode. This makes it useful for rectification, which is the process of converting alternating current AC to direct current DC. Vacuum tubes. The first vacuum tube was invented in 1904 by John Ambrose Fleming. It was a diode, which is a device that only allows current to flow in one direction. In 1907, Lee De Forest invented the triode, which is a vacuum tube with three electrodes. The triode could amplify signals, which made it possible to build radios and other electronic devices. Vacuum tubes were eventually replaced by transistors in the 1960s. Transistors are smaller, more efficient, and more reliable than vacuum tubes. Transistor. The transistor was invented in 1947 by John Bardeen, Walter Brattain, and William Shockley at Bell Labs. It is a semiconductor device that can amplify or switch electronic signals. Transistors are much smaller and more efficient than vacuum tubes, and they revolutionized the electronics industry. Transistors are used in almost all electronic devices today, including radios, televisions, computers, cell phones, and even cars. They have made it possible to create smaller, more powerful, and more reliable electronic devices. The invention of the diode, vacuum tubes, and transistors were major milestones in the history of electronics. These devices made it possible to build radios, televisions, computers, and other electronic devices that we use today. Now we will see how the integrated circuit, IC, came into the existence. And due to IC technology, how the size of electronic devices starts reducing. The invention of the integrated circuit, IC, is credited to two men, Jack Kilby and Robert Noyce. Kilby, who worked for Texas Instruments, is generally considered to have invented the first IC in 1958. He created a monolithic IC, which means that all of the components of the circuit were made on a single semiconductor chip. Noyce, who worked for Fairchild Semiconductor, invented a different type of IC called a hybrid IC in 1959. Hybrid ICs were made up of discrete components that were connected together on a ceramic substrate. The invention of the IC was a major breakthrough in electronics. It allowed for the creation of much smaller and more powerful electronic devices. This led to the development of new technologies such as computers, cell phones, and digital cameras. The next step of IC was the invention of microprocessors and microcontrollers. The invention of the microprocessor is credited to a team of engineers at Intel, led by Martian Ted Hoff. In 1969, Bizicom, a Japanese calculator manufacturer, approached Intel with a request to develop a new line of calculators. Bizicom's original design called for a programmable chip set consisting of 7 different chips. However, Hoff and his team realized that it was possible to combine all of the functions of these 7 chips into a single chip, which they called the 4004. The 4004 was a 4-bit microprocessor, which means that it could process data in 4-bit chunks. It had 2300 transistors and operated at a clock speed of 108 kHz. The 4004 was a revolutionary invention that made it possible to create much smaller and more affordable computers. It also paved the way for the development of the personal computer. The 8051 microcontroller was invented by Intel in 1980. It was designed by John H. Wharton, who was also the architect of the Intel 8086 microprocessor. The 8051 was the successor to the Intel 8048 microcontroller, and it offered a number of improvements, including more memory, more I/O ports, and a faster clock speed. The 8051 was quickly adopted by the embedded systems community, and it became one of the most popular microcontrollers in the world. It is still in use today, and it is considered to be a classic microcontroller design. Today there are various manufacturers of microcontroller. Some microcontroller manufacturers in the world are Microchip Technology, Renesas Electronics, STMicroelectronics, Texas Instruments, Maxim Integrated and Toshiba, etc. Finally, the SMD technology has been introduced to further reduce the size of electronic devices. SMD circuits are electronic circuits that use surface mount devices, SMDs, to mount the components on the printed circuit board, PCB. SMDs are smaller and have shorter leads than through-hole components, which allows for more components to be packed onto a smaller area of PCB. This makes SMD circuits more compact and lightweight, which is why they are often used in portable electronic devices such as smartphones, laptops, and tablets. In short, the invention of microprocessor and microcontrollers causes electronic circuit to be divided into hardware and software. Also, the SMD technology added more value. So these are some magic inventions, which reduced the size of devices and made them smart and intelligent. And these devices changed our lifestyle. Hope you found this video more informative. Please like the video and subscribe to our channel for more informative videos. Thank you. Best wishes.